Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's just jump right into it today. There's a quote that perfectly sets the stage for us. History is full of powerful armies, but none have matched the global might of the U.S. Armed Forces. I mean, think about that for a second. We've seen sweeping empires and colossal military machines throughout history, sure, but the scale, the technology, and the sheer mind-boggling reach of the modern U.S. military, it is completely unprecedented. And today, we're going to unpack exactly what that means.
So, welcome to today's Explainer. We are taking a structured, completely data-driven tour of the world's most powerful military apparatus. And, as we break down all this heavy hardware and these massive numbers, it's pretty fascinating to keep one thing in the back of your mind. This entire colossal structure is ultimately led by civilian authority, the commander-in-chief, sitting right at the very top. Okay, here's our game plan for today. To even begin to grasp a force of this magnitude, we have to break it down domain by domain. We'll start with number 1, the global footprint. Then move to number 2, the Army and ground dominance. Next up is number 3, the Air Force and aerial supremacy. And finally, number 4, the Navy, ruling the waves. Let's get started. Part 1, the global footprint, looking at the worldwide reach of U.S. forces. Get a load of this. The massive human engine running this whole operation consists of a grand total of 2,127,500 personnel. It's like a small country. A huge chunk of that, about 1,328,000 people, are on active duty. They're serving full-time, day in, day out. But here is the real kicker. An equally critical component is the 799,500 reserve forces. This is just a tremendous strategic asset. It basically means that if a major conflict suddenly kicks off, there's nearly another million fully trained personnel ready to step up and expand that active duty force on a dime. Now, those abstract personnel numbers translate into a very vast physical reality. The U.S. military actually operates 750 bases, scattered all across the globe. And spread across those global installations are 170,000 troops who are currently stationed abroad. We aren't just talking about border defense here. This is a globally integrated network designed to project influence, deter threats, and respond to crises literally anywhere on the planet. Moving right along to Section 2, the Army, ground dominance, and essentially the heavy armored backbone of the entire U.S. military. When you think about frontline brawn, you immediately think of tanks, right? Well, the Army fields 4,640 of them, built specifically to smash through enemy positions and completely dismantle defenses with just overwhelming firepower. But tanks don't roll in alone. They're backed up by a staggering 391,963 armored fighting vehicles. That number is just wild. This massive, massive fleet ensures that infantry can be safely transported right into the thick of battle, giving troops high-speed mobility wrapped in heavy armor protection. All right, time for a quick definition, because this is crucial. When those tanks run into a deeply entrenched target that they just can't reach, the Army calls in self-propelled artillery. There are 671 of these highly mobile units, and they're designed specifically to lob sheer destruction at targets up to 40 kilometers away. To put that in perspective, that's like firing across an entire sprawling metropolitan city. Complementing those are 1,212 towed artillery pieces stationed in the rear, laying down relentless fire support to halt any enemy advance long before it ever hits the front lines. And to really cap off the Army's ground power, we have 641 multiple launch rocket systems, or MLRS. If artillery is kind of like a sniper rifle for distant targets, the MLRS is your massive area of effect weapon. Their primary, terrifying role is to suppress enemy targets over a massive wide area by literally raining missiles down, creating total area denial for any opposing force. It's game-changing firepower. All right, let's take to the skies for Section 3, the Air Force. Aerial supremacy and the absolute pride of American air power, totaling over 13,000 aircraft. So, breaking down that total inventory of 13,043 aircraft, at the very tip of the spear, you've got 1,790 combat fighters dedicated entirely to securing air superiority. Right alongside them are 889 combat attack aircraft built specifically to disrupt enemy supply lines and pound ground targets. Then you've got the logistics backbone, 918 transport planes ready to fly troops and heavy gear anywhere in the world. And of course, a vital fleet of 2,647 trainer aircraft to make sure pilots are absolute masters of their craft before they ever see a day of combat. Now here's an absolutely crucial, though maybe often overlooked asset, the fleet of 605 tanker aircraft. Okay, a flying gas station might not sound as glamorous as a fighter jet, but strategically, it is the ultimate multiplier. These aircraft perform mid-air refueling, drastically extending the range and the mission duration of the entire fleet. This is the exact technology that allows a U.S. jet to take off, strike a target on the complete opposite side of the planet, and return without ever touching the ground. Incredible, right? The Air Force isn't just about jets, though. They rely heavily on highly specialized air assets. We're talking 647 special mission aircraft that handle reconnaissance, surveillance, and extreme-range electronic warfare. Then, much closer to the ground, you have 5,843 transport helicopters, acting as the vital arteries of the battlefield, just constantly moving personnel and cargo around. And flying escort? 1,002 heavily armed attack helicopters, fully ready to engage enemy infantry and armor in brutal close combat. Finally, let's head out to sea for Section 4, the Navy. Ruling the waves and dominating the world's oceans with a 440-ship armada. To truly project power on a global scale, the Navy relies heavily on its massive carriers. Right at the center of the fleet are 11 aircraft carriers. These aren't just ships, they are massive mobile air bases that let the U.S. park a fully functioning Air Force right off the coast of pretty much any isolated region on Earth. Partnered with them are 9 helicopter carriers. These are absolutely crucial for amphibious assaults, using their onboard choppers to rapidly deploy elite commandos directly from the sea onto hostile shores. But listen, a modern Navy needs way more than just huge floating air bases. It needs speed, and that is exactly what the 26 littoral combat ships provide. These are highly agile vessels built for rapid surface warfare, coastal security, and aggressively hunting down submarines. Now, contrasting that nimble coastal agility is the serious deep-water muscle of the Navy's 81 destroyers. These things are packed with advanced radars and long-range missiles. They don't just protect the carriers, they can literally intercept incoming ballistic missiles in space outside the Earth's atmosphere. No way around it, that is just next-level tech. Of course, not all naval power is visible on the horizon. Beneath the waves, it's a whole different ballgame. 70 highly advanced submarines patrol in complete silence, designed to stalk and strike enemy targets without ever being detected. And making sure these subs and surface ships can move freely, that falls to 8 highly specialized mine warfare vessels. They take on the incredibly dangerous, completely unglamorous, but absolutely vital task of clearing sea lanes by detecting and neutralizing explosive underwater threats. So, bringing it all together, when you combine these land, air, and sea forces, it creates a multi-domain capability that is quite literally unmatched. From those 750 global bases and over 2 million personnel, to the thousands of armored tanks, the 13,000 aircraft securing the skies above, and the 440-ship armada ruling the seas below, the logistical and technological scale we've just looked at is truly immense. Which brings us to the ultimate question for today. With such unstoppable, unmatched, multi-domain power, what does this actually mean for the future of global geopolitics? We've mapped out the vast, dizzying scale of this modern military apparatus. How other nations around the world choose to respond to, balance against, or align with this staggering level of civilian-led might, well, that is undoubtedly the defining question of our era. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did, and we'll see you next time.